A surging wake. Today, we are joined by Ash, Roxy, En, and Iris, who have arrived in Absolute City. Ash hopes that he can finally earn his 8th and final badge to enter the Unova League. Iris can't wait to see her adoptive grandfather. Meanwhile, Roxy is looking to gather more information on the Castle of the Veil, as Absolute City was founded shortly after the castle was built. En, on the other hand, seeks to talk with DIDNT. He wants to find out anything that DIDNT knows about this mysterious third dragon. Fortunately for our heroes, the place they all seek intersects at the Absolute Gym. But when they arrive, what they find is something odd. The gym is closed, not one person inside, but Iris happens to know a back entrance to the gym, so she manages to get inside to let the group in as well. Ash asks if this is okay. Iris comments that there won't be any problem. Her grandfather DIDNT often closes the gym for a few days when he travels to the village of the dragons, her hometown. So if they just wait here, then he should be back anytime. Reluctantly, the group goes along with this for now. Roxy asks Iris if there's any place in the gym where they keep any books or anything like that. Iris tells her that there's a room full of old books at the back of the gym. DIDNT won't mind. I used to look at them all as a kid. Iris then leaves Roxy down a long hallway, leaving En and Ash to awkwardly converse until they return. Ash asks En if he ever battled DIDNT, and if so, what was it like? Yes, I have, En responds, and he has the title of strongest gym leader in Unova for a reason. The only way I was able to beat him last time was due to the power of Reshiram on my side. If it wasn't for the strength of it, DIDNT would have beaten me no contest. Ash then asks the one question he's had on his mind since En joined them back at the castle. If En battled all the gyms and competed in the Pokemon League, then how come he doesn't have any of the Pokemon with him? En frowns slightly. Ash, when I tried to force people to release their Pokemon, it was something I was going to enforce whether they wanted to or not. When Iris helped me see the error of my ways, I realized one thing. I had forced my friends to do something they didn't want to do. All of the Pokemon I used during my journey were mistreated by humans. Then, I came along and used their trust in me to force them to help my misguided goals. Their own rage toward other humans blinded them, as I was blinded by the lies of my father. So, to atone for my sins, I set them all free with the request that they would live in the world as I was going to try and do. The world isn't always black or white, or wrong or right. Sometimes it's different shades of gray. This lesson I only learned when Iris put herself on the line to stop my foolish endeavors. Ash hangs his head. I didn't know it was that serious. Iris never really talked about the battle you two had. I saw the championship match on TV between Iris and Adler, but I was also a few years younger, so I didn't know what had happened before that. And then says Ash, you never did answer my question. How did you get RIOLU? This was because Ash didn't really trust it. He didn't want to give out any information that Team Plasma might be able to use. After all, they have been after RIOLU since it hatched. But Ash feels a little bit more at ease with En after their conversation, and RIOLU doesn't seem to have any problem with it. So, he starts to tell the story, but before he can even say a word, a blood-curdling scream rings throughout the gym. It's coming from the direction that Iris and Roxy went, so Ash and En rush to them, thinking something is terribly wrong. Fortunately, Iris and Roxy are unharmed, but the reason for the scream was because the room they were looking for seems to have been destroyed. The many bookshelves that line the room have been toppled over. There are signs of a struggle, like DIDNT was attacked, but there's no sign of the gym leader. Iris is in a panic. Roxy, being the only level-headed one, calls the city police. The gym is immediately closed for the rest of the night as it is scavenged for clues to the whereabouts of the gym leader. After spending the night at the station, with En being held as the prime suspect being questioned for hours on end, Iris is able to convince Officer Jenny that En is innocent, as he was with the group when they arrived, and her statement was backed up by local security cameras in the area. So they turn to the gym's internal security system for answers, but they find that it has been sabotaged. They can't get any information over the last week. After a day or so, the group is able to finally re-enter the gym. They manage to clean up the area that was wrecked. This does take some time. While picking up the mess in the gym library, Iris comes across a book that DIDNT used to read to her when she was a little girl, before she had moved to the village of the dragons. The book is titled Unova, A Forgotten History. Iris shows the book to everyone, telling them that it was her favorite activity that her and DIDNT used to do together. She was very young when he would read it to her for bedtime, and she didn't really understand it, but she enjoyed it because of the pictures inside, as she opens up to a page that is very familiar to her and someone else in the room. And it is the picture that was on the wall of the spiral staircase in the Castle of the Veil, the picture of the 3 dragons. N questions, how could this be? The castle was nearly 3,000 years old, and this book, it's maybe a couple hundred years old at most. Iris then says that's not all that's concerning, flipping the pages to read the actual stories. It tells that 1,000 years ago, a dragon of great and terrible power ravaged the land that is now known as Absolute City. The dragon was known for its mastery of ice. Of ice? Ash questions. Roxy says, that doesn't sound like Zekrom or Reshram, and replies, cause it's not. They were sealed at the time, and then tells Iris to continue. She says, this dragon seemed to have a rage that would not subside. It attacked anything that moved with ice that would not melt, trapping anything inside of it for the rest of eternity. After many years of fear, one person decided to stand up to this dragon. The person was said to be a direct descendant of the king that unified Unova in ancient times. With the help of their dragon partner, the brave hero was able to push back the frozen demon to the giant chasm, sealing the beast after it was drained of its power. Drained of its power? End questions? Iris, doesn't that sound familiar? Both of them looking at Axio. Iris continues the story, saying that the hero was then the one who went on to found the Village of the Dragons. Isn't the Village of the Dragons located really close to the place that's mentioned? This giant chasm? Roxy asks. I think it is, Iris remarks. Whatever happened here and Drayden's disappearance has to have something to do with all of this, and retorts. Iris then says, well, then there's only one thing we can do. The place we need to seek answers is home, in the village. Ash gets a little uptight. He really wanted a gym battle, but Iris slaps him in the back of the head, reminding him that there's no one here to battle. But if Ash has insisted on a gym battle, there is a brand new gym in Humalau City. Iris states, I've never battled it. In fact, the last time I was there, the gym wasn't even open. But that was a few years ago. I'm sure it's open by now. This gets Ash and Riolu's attention. A gym leader that not even Iris has had a chance to battle? Sign them up. The group does their best to clean up the gym before they leave, with Iris paying special attention to the library, making sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. But it's odd. There seems to be an item missing. A statue of a Pokemon. Something that Drayden used to call the Dragon of Secrets. It was odd, as Drayden said it was modeled after a Pokemon, but it wasn't any Pokemon Iris had ever seen. She thought it shared some characteristics with Reshiram, and now that she thought about it, Zekrom as well. But still, it's very odd. But she can't worry about that now. She has to get home. Iris closes the gym indefinitely, with a sign telling any challengers there's no time frame when it will reopen. With that, the group heads out to the Village of the Dragons. During the time that our heroes are on the road, Ash figures that since they are going to the Village of the Dragons, he should get to know his newest Pokemon, that just so happens to be a dragon type, Darudagon. After all, he hadn't really let it out of his ball since it was captured, with everything that had been going on. Ash also feels a little bit behind in his training, so he and Roxy try some one-on-one battles. It is at this time En begins to bring up the topic of how Ash met Riolu, but Ash tells En that he doesn't have time for that now. He needs to train for his next gym battle, so Ash and Riolu face off against Roxy and Zorora. The battle goes on, but it is clear that Riolu has the advantage. Riolu is able to easily knock out the mischievous fox. Ash taunts Roxy, asking if that's all she's got. Frustrated, as she knows that this was just something to help Ash train, she sends in Whirlipede. It's here that Riolu and Ash begin to have a little trouble, but Ash is still able to keep ahead of Roxy. While this is going on, Iris and En have time to talk as they watch the battle before them. Iris tells En that he shouldn't push the issue with Ash and Riolu. Ash hasn't fully started to trust him yet, so he's unwilling to open up about it. En tells Iris that she still has a very special way with people, the same kind heart that was able to reach En, the one that can only see the truth behind a person's ideals. Iris tells En that he has the same gift. He just has to embrace his connection with people more. Then he will see what she sees. It's kind of you to believe in me like that, En says, but I still have a lot of personal things that I have to work on if I'm going to get to the place you speak of. En then asks if Iris knows the story of how Ash and Riolu met. She confirms she does, but it's not her place to tell the story. Don't worry, in time, Ash will come around. Don't force it. This is when the two clue back into the battle. Roxy was able to get the upper hand and best Riolu, hitting it hard enough with a rollout to send it flying back into a tree, knocking it out. Ash rushes to its side asking if it's okay. Riolu is a bit dazed, but it will be fine. But you know what won't? Ash's pride. He isn't happy with losing like that, thinking it was a cheap shot. With no hesitation, he pulls out the ball of his newest Pokemon, as he sends in Darudagon. As it emerges from the ball, Ash thinks to himself, with my powerful new dragon type, there's no way she can win. Ash's thoughts are interrupted though when Darudagon charges directly at him. There was no command, no warning, but then Ash clues in on what Darudagon is after, Riolu. Ash tries to recall Darudagon, but it fails, as the dragon grabs a boulder to block its return, while continuing its charge. Ash panics, frozen, unsure what to do. Thinking quick, En rushes rushes in to grab Ash and RIOLU out of the way, but he's only quick enough to knock Ash out of the path of the rampaging monster as it grabs RIOLU, continuing its charge into the forest, leaving everyone in shocked awe at what just happened. But this didn't last long, as Ash realizes Druddigon just took off with RIOLU, and it wasn't in the best shape. He immediately gives chase, calling to RIOLU and Druddigon. Not wanting Ash to face this alone, En follows him in hopes of offering any assistance that he can. Iris and Roxy watch as the two disappear off into the distance. After a little bit of time, En finally catches up with Ash. What the two see before them is a scene of total destruction. Trees lie in pieces around them. Druddigon is after RIOLU. It intends to cause harm to RIOLU, Ash says. En asks how he would know that. Ash tells En that he may not be super sensitive like Iris is, but he knows anger when he sees it. Druddigon won't stop until it's able to best RIOLU. Back at the Castle of the Veil when I caught it, RIOLU was exerting more aura than it ever had before. It was perfectly countering Druddigon, causing great damage with each of its moves. I could tell that Druddigon was unhappy with its strength being so easily stopped, but it would not stop the battle. Every time RIOLU would deal a final blow, Druddigon would stand back up. It got to the point that if it would have continued, then it would have been permanently hurt, and I didn't want that, so I caught it instead. I see and says, Dragon-type Pokemon are notorious for their pride and their power. You and RIOLU shattered that pride. Yes, Ash says. I think that's why it wanted me and RIOLU separated. It wants to test its power against RIOLU without me near. The two continue their search, but night is on the horizon. They have continued to follow the path of destruction until they can't see anything around them, and suggests that they make camp. They will continue the search at first light. While the two eat what little food they have, En comments that Ash doesn't seem all that worried that RIOLU is missing. Ash tells En, that's because I've learned to trust it. I know that it can take care of itself. With all the things that we've been through over the last year, I know that no matter what happens, we will eventually find each other again, especially after we met. This catches En's attention as Ash begins to tell the story. Back with Roxy and Iris, the two are talking about what happened today. Iris knows that Ash and En will be okay, but Roxy is concerned. Druddigon wasn't supposed to be in the catacombs under the castle, according to Damon, but it was there. Iris does remark that it was odd, and that Druddigon seems far more aggressive than normal. You know, it was strange. When we first encountered Druddigon, I got a feeling that it was very familiar, something that I hadn't felt in a while, in about a year. Then, Iris thinks back to the day that RIOLU hatched as she looks into the sky. Deep in the forest, we catch up with RIOLU. It has found a moment of reprieve from its battle with the hostile dragon, as it has made its way into a hollow of a tree. RIOLU can sense Druddigon, but it seems to be moving in the opposite direction. For now, RIOLU focuses on getting some rest, trying to sleep while it still has a chance. Over with Ash and En, Ash ends the story with his first encounter with Andrio and how RIOLU surged with aura for the first time. He then comments that the scientist Colors has a weird obsession with RIOLU, and tells Ash that he thinks he knows why, causing Ash to look at him with a puzzled look, and continues, you said that the egg was damaged when you found it in the forest the morning you got it from that girl Bianca, but she didn't know where it came from, correct? Well, I'm the reason that it was in the forest. What do you mean? Ash says. The night before Bianca found that egg, I was in the Team Plasma lab in the Verbank complex. I found out that they were holding Thundurus captive there, so I broke in to free it. I was successful in freeing Thundurus, though when I was making my escape, I was suddenly stopped by the presence I felt. Something was reaching out to me. I almost ignored it, as Thundurus was destroying the complex, seeking revenge for being captured, but something just wouldn't let me leave, so I followed the aura I felt, eventually coming to a part of the lab that looked like it was a testing facility. When I opened a door, there it was. An egg was hooked up to all sorts of measuring equipment. Someone was very interested in this egg, as it seemed to have extensive data monitoring its development, but the base was crumbling before me. I had little time to act, so I grabbed the egg and fled, but I was unable to get away unnoticed. The Shadow Triad was after me with orders from Colors. In the stress of the escape, I became separated from the egg, unaware of its location. Unfortunately, I had no time to look for it, as it was either I find it and be caught, or flee so I could protect the location of Reshiram. It seems that everything seemed to have worked out though, as RIOLU found its true partner. That's really heavy, Ash says. I always wondered how Bianca found the egg, but that still doesn't explain why Colorus is so interested in RIOLU, and tells Ash Ash that the reason could be one of many, but whatever it is, you can bet that it's at the center of their plans. My father once only wanted Unova, but now I fear his ambitions have grown to reflect other regions. I know that he has sent sleeper agents to Kalos, Hoenn, and Galar. For what? I don't know, but it can't be good. Ash does agree with that, but RIOLU is his Pokemon and his friend. He won't let them have it. The two settle in for the night, as it is getting late and they want to make an early start. At the crack of dawn, the duo is following the path of destruction in search of Ash's two Pokemon. We're getting close and says, I can feel the rage of Druddigon. Then an explosion echoes through the forest, capturing the attention of all four of our heroes. Everyone converges on the site of the explosion. They are all met with a battle-worn RIOLU and Druddigon. It seems the two haven't let up. Ash tries to interfere, readying Druddigon's ball to recall it. When he is stopped by N, wait, he says, you have to let this play out. Druddigon will continue this behavior in the future if you don't. Ash grits his teeth, but Iris seconds N's comment. Ash, listen to N. No one can feel the hearts of Pokemon better. Though he doesn't like it, Ash halts his advance, putting away the ball. The group watches as the battle intensifies. RIOLU is on the defensive, but it doesn't appear to be out of control of the battle. Druddigon is just attacking wildly. As Ash is watching, he can see it. RIOLU is glowing with aura again, but that's not all. Every move, dodge, or defense it uses against Druddigon, they're all ones that he and RIOLU have developed in their time together. The training they've been through, the experiences they have shared, this is their bond. And looks at Ash. His demeanor has changed. His spirit has settled. He is calm. This change in emotion resonates with RIOLU. Its power and its speed is increasing slightly at first, but as Druddigon's pressure increases in battle, RIOLU's power increases. It is now directly matching the dragon, blow for blow. Whatever advantage Druddigon had seems to have faded away. Ash feels something calling to him. Meanwhile, off in another part of Unova, Colress stands in front of the black orb that contains Zekrom. It isn't a machine being analyzed when all of Colress' instruments start to go haywire, and the orb begins to surge with electricity. Colress, piqued by the events unfolding in front of him, steps back to watch. Why have you become active, he thinks. Zekrom begins to grow in size, then gets his sensors to the lab, screaming, you fool, shut it down. Colress reluctantly pushes a button on the console. The box that the black orb is in is flooded with what appears to be ice, freezing the orb and subsiding the reaction that was occurring. Colress, your reckless research for knowledge puts everyone on this ship at risk. I did tell you we didn't know what would happen with this type of power. Colress responds, it only seemed right that I let it play out. You are not here to experiment. You are here to find a way to control this power and make Kyurem whole again. Gets commands, but I can't do that without its other piece, Colress remarks. Don't worry, I have a pretty good idea where my son stashed the orb. Reshiram will be ours within the week, as the two look out over a dragon in an ice containment field. Over with the battle with RIOLU and Druddigon, the battle has not slowed one bit. For whatever reason, Druddigon doesn't seem to be tiring. The strength of this dragon is something Iris has rarely seen. Druddigon are well known for their hostility, but truth be told, they are on the weaker side of dragons that are native to Unova. But this one, it far exceeds anything she had ever seen in the species. Iris starts to question if this Pokemon is something that Ash can handle. She then looks at him. Ash seems different somehow. She's never seen this before. For once, his soul is calm. Normally, when Ash is in an intense battle, he has a clouded aura around him, like he's unsure about his abilities, even though he always seems to be in control. But here, he has no self-doubt. She can feel it in RIOLU as well. This clear state of mind has connected the two in a way that they have never been connected before. Then, it happens. A bright light envelops the battle area. Once again, RIOLU emerges with a surging aura transformed. But rather than shudder at this revelation, Druddigon seems to be pleased, like this is what it wanted. Unfortunately for the dragon though, it's not good news. The change to RIOLU has amplified its strength, allowing it to actually cause damage with its increased speed and power. Druddigon does seem to have the endurance to hold off any major damage, but you can tell it still feels the pain. The battle has begun to reach its climax. It seems clear that RIOLU has the edge to finally end it. Then RIOLU drops. The transformation is wearing off, and RIOLU appears in pain. At the same time this happens, Iris felt a change in Ash's mental state. He became somewhat overconfident. Did it affect RIOLU, Iris wonders? But she can't worry about that now. Druddigon is on the move toward RIOLU. Iris tells Axew to intercept it in an attempt to hold the dragon back, but its sole focus is on RIOLU, brushing Axew aside to continue its charge. But Ash rushes in, blocking the path of Druddigon. He tells the dragon that if it wants to get to RIOLU, then it will have to deal with him first. As it swipes at Ash with a Dragon Call, fall, Gerudogon is hit from behind with an attack. As the Titanic Goliath turns, there stands Axew. It's not happy that Gerudogon just blew it off, and it's glowing with a strange red ore that Iris has never seen before. Reshiram, and blurts out, "I can feel its presence again." Iris looks on as Axew is now engaged in a battle with Gerudogon. Axew is showing a side that it's never shown before. It's never this aggressive, Iris thinks, but Axew is just getting started. The aura surges around it as Gerudogon is met with repeated dragon rages, but it retaliates with its own dragon pulse. Axew gets caught in one of them as Iris calls to it. Axew won't be denied though. It starts to push back the attack, gaining more and more ground. Gerudogon musters up what strength it has left to reinforce the first dragon pulse with another one. Beginning to feel overwhelmed, Axew lets out a loud battle cry. Then it begins to glow, pushing back the energy beam. When the light subsides, where Axew stood now stands something new, a fracture. Fracture, Iris says. Without a command, Fracture goes on attack, hitting Gerudogon with a new attack, Dual Chop. The double strike has enough force to finally knock Gerudogon out, to everyone's relief. Ash, recall it, Roxy says. Ash grabs the ball and recalls Gerudogon, just in time as it was starting to regain consciousness again. Ash then checks on RIOLU. Surprisingly, it doesn't seem hurt. It was able to stand and walk just fine, like it hadn't even battled. Ash finds this odd. How? Why? And that transformation happened again? But these thoughts are overshadowed by the celebration Iris is having with her new fracture. Even RIOLU has joined in, and is curious to ask why the power of Reshiram chose to emerge now. Is this a sign that something maniacal is on the horizon? Come to think of it, for a brief second, Aang could feel Zekrom as well. None of this sits well with Aang, but he needs more information. The group then takes the next day to rest up before they head out. Iris approaches Ash with a concern on her part. She tells him that it doesn't seem like he'll be able to control Gerudogon. She thinks that it would be best if Ash let her take the responsibility of this highly aggressive and dangerous Pokemon. Iris thought this type of conversation would anger Ash, but it's the exact opposite. He just smiles. Iris, I know it may seem impossible now, but don't worry. I will get through to Gerudogon. I can't give up on it. What kind of trainer would I be if I did? To this statement, Iris just smiles. Ash has grown up a lot, and it's beginning to show as the group head toward Humalao City. Luckily, the rest of the group's journey is uninterrupted. They make it to Humalao City in a couple of days. From the hill atop Unova's newest city, they can see everything. It's kind of like this is more of a tourist attraction than anything. Ash asks Iris if she's sure there's a gym here. She says she is, telling Ash he shouldn't question the champion. If anyone would know where the gyms are in Unova, then it would be her. Okay, where is it then? Iris nervous because she finally remembers that she had never seen the actual gym itself, as the last time she was here, it was barely under construction. Just points without looking. Roxy asks if she's sure that's correct, as they can see sweat pour down Iris's face. Yep, she says, trying to act confident, but when she looks, she realizes her mistake. She was pointing out to a boat docked in the bay. Ash asks if she's sure about this. Iris, not wanting to give up the charade, nods, claiming that the gym leader is a water-type specialist, so a boat only makes sense, doesn't it? Iris pauses, hoping they will buy her lie. Yeah, I guess it does, as Ash leads everyone down the road to the Pokemon Center. Once there, Iris is now panicking even more. Should she just tell the truth or continue with this facade? After all, she doesn't actually remember a gym on the registry of the league for this town, but been a year or so since she last looked at it. After Ash gets all of his Pokemon checked out, he makes a call to Travon at Floxy Ranch. He wants to request that he swap out Levani and Palpito temporarily for the battle. Iris, clueless, asks why he's doing this. Didn't you say the gym was a water-type gym, Ash asks. Oh, yeah, I did, didn't I? The truth is, Iris doesn't know what kind of gym it is, and if there's even one here in the town-sized city. Are you okay, Iris? Ann asks. Yeah, I'm fine, she replies. Ash just shrugs as he turns towards the door, but he bumps into a young-looking man with no shirt on. Oh, I'm sorry, little dude, he says. The man helps Ash up. Are you okay? Ash replies, yeah, I'm fine. I'm sorry that I bumped into you. The young man claims that it's not Ash's fault. He introduces himself as Marlin, a new local to Humalao City. New? Roxy asks. Yes, I just moved here within the last few months. So, what brings you guys to Humalao City, Marlin asks. Ash steps forward. I'm here for my final gym badge of the Unova League. Oh, the final one, Marlin replies. Well, how about I escort you to the gym? I know a shortcut that would be way quicker. Then, Marlin's attention gets divided as it shifts to the girl next to Ash. Excuse me, are you Iris, the champion in Unova? Iris, not expecting to get recognized, confirms that she is who Marlin thinks she is. Great, he says. I've been waiting for you. I thought you would never get here. Iris puzzled. Well, I'm here, laughing nervously. Marlin says, great. Can you come do my certification now? Iris says, I'm sorry, but Ash is here for his gym battle. This certification you speak of will have to wait. How about after Ash's gym battle? Sure, I guess, Iris replies. Cool, how about we get going? I want to get this underway. Iris asks Roxy and N if they are coming, but they decline, stating that they will stay behind, awaiting their return. Iris is now really nervous as the three walk out of the Pokemon Center. After a while, Ash starts to ask Marlin if he knows where he's going, as the path that they are walking on leads away from the boat that Iris said was the gym. Marlin says, yeah, don't worry, we're almost there. But they are in the middle of the woods on a hillside, as far from the harbor as they can be, when Marlin declares, here we are. What lays before them is a battlefield on the edge of a cliff shoreline. Marlin, I need to head to the gym, not your personal battlefield. Stumped, Marlin replies, this is the gym. What do you mean? Ash asks. The gym is on the boat in the harbor. Why would I have my gym on a boat? Marlin asks. Your gym? Iris replies. Then it clicks. Wait, you're the gym leader? Iris says. Yeah, Marlin replies. Who else would I be? Iris realizes her entire charade is crumbling down. Ash and RIOLU just look on, trying to understand what's going on. You're not here to certify me, are you? Marlin says. No, Iris responds. I don't even know what you're talking about. Marlin tells her that he was told by a league official that is certified at the gym the only thing that still needed to be done is the champion's approval. Iris thinks back. Then she remembers. Before she left to start a new journey, she was supposed to meet with a new gym leader to certify their gym. It wasn't an official certification, more of a spiritual one to show good faith from the regional champion. Iris palms her face. I'm so sorry, she says. I completely forgot. So the boat isn't the gym? Ash asks. No, I lied about that, Ash, thinking how dense he could be sometimes. So am I gonna get a gym battle? Marlin tells Ash, no problem, little dude. You will battle me, Marlin, the gym leader of Hamalau City. Marlin looks to Iris. I hope you pay close attention, as I intend to win this battle with only one Pokemon. Ash yells, hey, you're battling me, not her. Marlin apologizes, telling Ash that this will be a 4-on-4 battle, and he won't be holding back. So, Ash better bring his best. Now, you're speaking my language, Ash states, as the two trainers take their positions on the battlefield. Marlin starts by sending in his Basculin. So, he is a water-type trainer, Ash thinks. At least Iris got that right. Ash uses his Pokedex to get info on his Pokemon. He knows they are usually aggressive, but this one seems oddly calm. Ash doesn't want to risk it, so he goes with Levani right off the bat, thinking the type advantage will make this battle an easy win. Marlin gives Ash the first move. Ash willingly takes the bait, ordering Levani to rush in with the Leaf Blade. Marlin, however, is unimpressed, simply ordering Basculin to dive beneath the water, dodging the attack. Ash, you have to be aware of the battlefield. Marlin will always have the advantage here, due to it being on the ocean. Iris yells to him. I know, he says, but how does he force Basculin out of the water? Unfortunately, Ash doesn't have time to react when Basculin rushes in out of the water, connecting with the double edge. Then, quickly diving back in. You okay, Ash? Marlin asks. You seem distracted. I'm fine. But then, another double edge, hitting Levani once more. Ash, you need to make a move. I don't have to order Basculin. It just attacks on its own. The only thing I control is when it stops. Stops? Ash says. Yep, that's how it prefers to battle. So, I don't fight the flow. I go with it. Yeah, but Double Edge is a move that has a high cost with his recoil damage, Ash states. You would normally think that, but Basculin's ability Rockhead prevents recoil damage, as Basculin lands another Double Edge. Ash, your talking is going to cost you. Pay attention to the battle, Marlin warns. Looking at the water, Ash notices something. Then he orders Levani to fire an X-Scissor towards left, which manages to catch Basculin as it came up for what would have been a final attack. Good work, Ash. But can you do it again? Ash knows Marlin is pandering him, but he pushes it out, focusing on the water. Again, Levani behind you. Use X-Scissor, catching Basculin. Okay, I think we have your attack pattern, Ash thinks. He uses this knowledge to counter Basculin for the next few bouts, but Levani is getting tired. It needs to land a decisive blow. On the next attack, Ash orders Levani to let Basculin surface. Marlin, knowing that something is up, changes his demeanor slightly. As the double edge gets closer to Levani, Ash orders it to block it with one of its leaf blades. This catches Basculin in midair. They are even. Ash then orders Levani to use its free blade to strike a blow on Basculin. As the attack gets closer to connecting, Ash thinks he's got it. Basculin, use Aqua Jet, Marlin calls. The fish surges with water, overpowering the double leaf blade, allowing the double edge to hit, knocking out Levani. But how? Ash was sure he had this. Phew. That was close, Marlin says. Ash recalls Levani, thanking it for the tough battle, and apologizing for not being a better partner. Marlin hears this, but keeps his comments to himself for now. Ash thinks to himself, this battle is far tougher than I thought it was going to be. Marlin's Pokemon are so well trained that he only has to step in when they're about to lose. I have my work cut out for me. Are you going to send in your next choice, Ash? Don't worry, Marlin. I have one right here. Palpitoad. I choose you. Oh, so water versus water. I can dig it, Ash. Ash doesn't waste any time ordering Palpitoad in the water. Ash doesn't want to give any chances to Basculin, ordering Palpitoad to trap it with its tongue. Marlin sees Ash's plan and gives the order for an Aqua Jet to escape, but Ash isn't letting it get away, ordering a Supersonic, catching Basculin, stopping it in its tracks. Ash then orders Palpitoad to fling Basculin in the air and to follow up with its new move, Sludge Wave. It connects with Basculin as it falls back into the water. Once the muscle-bound fish resurfaces, it is clear that it can no longer battle, giving Ash his first win. So much for using just one Pokemon, eh, Marlin? Yeah, I was a little bold in assumptions, but you have to understand, you're the first trainer to get past my Basculin since the gym was opened. What does that mean? You've never given out a badge, Iris yells. That's correct. Honestly, I was thinking about closing the gym, as I really couldn't find any challenge. But Ash, you seem to be the trainer that may be able to earn my badge. The question is, do you have the resolve to do so? Ash looks at Riolu and Palpitoad. Marlin, we're gonna get that badge. I hope you do, Marlin replies, as he sends in his next Pokemon, Jellicent. This Pokemon seems odd to Ash. It's hiding something. So he uses his Pokedex to find out what. It's a ghost type. Great. Something he has no experience with. Ash asks Palpitoad if it still wants to battle. Having taken no damage, it nods, ready for more. Ash then orders a Mud Shot, but it is easily dealt with when the Spectral Pokemon uses Ominous Wind, sending the attack right back at Palpitoad. Great. We can't even battle from a distance, Ash thinks. Well, I guess we'll have to get in close. Palpitoad takes to the water in an attempt to do so, but Jellicent doesn't move, allowing it to get closer. Ash orders a Sludge Wave, but Marlin counters with a dodge, then orders it to use Toxic. Oh no, Ash thinks. Harkening back to his battle with Roxy, he knows where this ends. He has to end this now. Ash needs to slow Jellicent down. Luckily, Palpitoad has just the move, as he orders a Hydro Pump. This does manage to connect, coming in faster than Palpitoad's other attacks, but the toxic damage is stacking up, and Palpitoad's strength is starting to waver. Marlin then orders a Hex that connects with Palpitoad writhing in pain. What? Why? That move didn't seem that strong. Normally no, but it gains strength when there's a status move in play, Marlin replies. Great, Ash thinks. How do I deal with this? Ash then makes the call to return Palpitoad for now. Marlin looks on, again keeping his thoughts to himself. Ash, without hesitation, sends in his third Pokemon, Electric. Oh, hoping to use type advantage again, are we? Marlin questions. Iris looks on. There you go, Ash, she thinks. Ash wastes no time in ordering a Spark from Electric. The Thunderworm rushes in, but again, no reaction from Marlin or his Pokemon. The Spark connects, causing great damage, but not enough to end Jellicent. Ash thinks, okay, well, if he's not going to make another move, then I will, calling for another Spark. But nothing happens. Marlin laughs. That's Jellicent's ability, Curse Body. When you connect with the physical move, it becomes disabled. Funny, Ash. I thought that since you were such a good friend with the champion, you would be better at this. Ash ignores this comment. He knows that Marlin is just trying to get to him. Iris just looks on. That's it, Ash. You're on the right track. Ash, wanting to end this, orders a Crunch from Electric. Marlin, knowing that if this would connect, Jellicent will lose, orders it to dive under the waves, thinking it will be safe. But Ash isn't one to shy away from risk, ordering Electric in after it, catching Marlin off guard. But Marlin is able to quickly counter with an Ominous Wind, creating a whirlpool, catching both Pokemon in it. As the surge intensifies, the Pokemon get closer and closer. Ash knows if Electric gets it within range, it could catch a Toxic, or get hit with the Curse Body again. Ash decides to take the risk, ordering Electric to use the flow of the Whirlpool to increase its speed. Marlin uses this to his advantage, calling for a Toxic once more. Jellicent feeds the Toxic into the flow of the Whirlpool, connecting with Electric. Ash knew this was a risk, but he uses the area that he's covered to increase the potency of his next attack, Discharge. The Whirlpool flushes with electricity, catching Jellicent. As the two attacks subside, Electric surfaces back to Ash's side. You can already see the side effects of the Toxic forming, but it takes a moment for Jellicent to come up. The suspense is killing both Ash and Marlin, but eventually it comes up knocked out from the amplified attack, giving Ash his second win. Marlin Marlin recalls Jellison. He looks on, pondering his next move, watching Ash celebrate his win with his Pokemon. Though Marlin is down a Pokemon, 2 of Ash's are poisoned, with one of them close to being knocked out. Marlin is still confident he can win this battle, so Marlin sends in his 3rd Pokemon, Simipour. Ash looks on, using his Pokédex once again to get what information he can, realizing it's a pure water type. Ash wants to stick with Electric, asking if it can still battle. Electric nods, not feeling the whole effects of the poison as of yet. It jumps back into battle, facing its new opponent. Marlin starts this battle differently than the last 2, focusing on keeping Simipour at a distance and out of the water, using attacks like Scold and Icy Wind to attack from a distance. Prioritizing the Ice move, this is odd to Ash. The Ice move appears to be the weaker of the 2. Icy Wind keeps landing, barely causing damage. Ash orders a Crunch to make a power push for damage, but it misses. So Ash tries another, but again, it misses. What's going on, Ash thinks. Electric shouldn't have trouble keeping up with it. Confused, Marlin asks, I thought you would have caught on by now. The move, Icy Wind. While it's not a super powerful move, it does have a fun little side effect that you should know about. When it makes contact, the chances of the speed of the target could be lowered. Now it hits Ash. He didn't see it. He's focused so much on ending the battle quickly, he didn't realize Electric was getting slower, allowing the poison to amplify. Upon looking at his Pokemon, Ash can tell that Marlin has been ahead of him the whole battle. Electric is breathing heavily. It only has a few moves left in it. Ash chooses to go all or nothing, calling for a full-on discharge, enveloping the area, in hopes of catching Simipour. Once the attack subsides, Electric has fainted, succumbing to the poison, but Simipour is still standing. That's not all though, as Marlin smiles. I thought this might happen, as Simipour starts to glow. What the? Ash remarks. That's torn, Marlin cries. Once Simipour's health falls below a certain point, water-type attacks become more powerful. Ash knows he needs to use Palpitoad here. He can't risk using his last fresh Pokemon to have it knocked out by a souped-up water type, so he sends it back in. Though it's had some time to rest, the poison is still in play, so Ash needs to move fast. Marlin orders another Icy Wind, but now that Ash knows about it, he won't let it connect, ordering a Mud Shot, canceling out the attack. Marlin knows the way to end this very quickly is to get up close and personal, so he does, ordering a Brick Break, which Simipour is able to get in close, but Ash wanted this, telling Palpitoad to catch the monkey with its tongue. Marlin smiles. This is what he wanted. Now he hit Palpitoad with a torrent-powered Scald. As the attack connects, Marlin figures he's got this battle, but Palpitoad doesn't seem to be wavering at all. Confused? Ash asks, mocking Marlin's comment from earlier. Well, let me fill you in. That's Palpitoad's ability, Water Absorb. Marlin is impressed. Ash just outthought him. Now Palpitoad has more health and a firm hold on Simipour. Ash orders Palpitoad to end this battle with a Sludge Wave. It connects as Palpitoad slams Simipour into the flotation panel, knocking it out. Marlin recalls his Pokemon, telling Ash that he never thought he would get this far. His final Pokemon isn't one he doesn't use that often in battle, so Ash needs to make it a battle worth its time, as he declares, Caracosta, I choose you. What emerges is a Pokemon that Iris is all too familiar with. She yells, Ash, you need to be careful. Those Pokemon are deceptively strong. Ash utters, okay, I got it, as he pulls out his Pokedex, learning that the turtle is a water rock type. Ash doesn't want to rush into things, but Palpitoad is still on the clock. The health it got back is helpful, but it's only a temporary fix to the poison problem. Ash figures Mudshot could be the answer, being strong against rock types, so he calls for it, but Caracosta just takes it. I told you, Ash, you need to make this battle a good one. An attack as weak as that won't interest Caracosta. Knowing he has to make another move soon, Ash calls for another Mudshot, thinking that there's no way it could stand up to a super effective move twice, but yet again, not a scratch. What? Why? Ash questions. Marlin laughs. I told you, Ash, but what I didn't tell you is why. Caracosta's ability, Solid Rock. It reduces the damage of super effective moves, so it's like Caracosta isn't even taking damage. Ash, knowing that he's out of options, orders Palpitoad to use his tongue to grab the Titan Turtle, but Caracosta suddenly moves at the command of Marlin, jumping into the water. The change of strategy from the two caught Ash and Palpitoad off guard, giving Caracosta time to get in close, landing a crunch to end Palpitoad. The speed it moved. Ash didn't think something that size could move like that. I told you, Ash, you need to bring your best. Caracosta is a cut above my other Pokemon. You won't be able to win a battle like that. Ash recalled Palpitoad, thanking it for the massive effort it made. Iris watches on. Ash, you can do this, she thinks to herself. Ash looks on to the mountain of a challenge before him. He thinks back at the last 7 gym battles he's had. He didn't come all this way to fail now. He looks at RIOLU. You ready, buddy? It nods, jumping in and taking the position of Ash's final Pokemon in the battle. RIOLU, eh? Marlin thinks. What's your plan, Ash? The two trainers just smile as they call out their next attack. RIOLU, Force Palm, Caracosta, Rock Smash. As they connect, Ash orders RIOLU to add a quick attack to the Force Palm. This gives it the power needed to match Caracosta. Impressed, Marlin orders a smackdown that nearly connects with RIOLU, but its enhanced aura sense makes it just barely able to dodge without Ash giving it a command. That small interaction speaks volumes to Marlin. He can see that the experience that RIOLU and Ash have had are unequal with his and his Caracosta. Ash and RIOLU feeling the same way. Their beliefs are so in sync that Iris can feel it where she stands. She thinks to herself, is it going to happen again? The two launch their next attack. Caracosta, Smackdown, RIOLU, Aura Sphere. Again, the attacks cancel each other out. But Ash loses sight of Caracosta in the scuffle as it emerges from underneath the water to RIOLU's left attempting a crunch. Ash just smiles. You didn't think that would work again, did you? As the crunch is met with an Aura Sphere to the face, followed by a Force Palm that suddenly connects, sending the colossal turtle back into the water. Unfortunately, it re-emerges as quickly as it was knocked in, but Ash can tell it felt that last attack. Marlin commends Ash. He can't remember how long it's been since someone was able to knock back his Caracosta like that. Ash tells Marlin he wanted a battle that was interesting, so he and RIOLU will deliver. Marlin will take no more chances. It's time to use his trump card, as he orders Caracosta to use Shell Smash. The Mon begins to glow and swell in size. What's going on? Ash says. Oh, that? It's just Shell Smash. At the cost of some defense, I can maximize Caracosta's attack and speed, Marlin replies. Ash, a little overconfident, doesn't take this too seriously at first, but he quickly realizes that he misjudged the situation when RIOLU struggles to keep up with the Terror Turtle. RIOLU is getting caught in multiple crunches and rock smashes, taking one hit after another. In the confusion, it starts to panic, losing trust in itself and its senses, but it can hear the voice of its trainer. RIOLU, calm down, focus. We can still win this. I believe in you. These words bring RIOLU back to its serene mind, and as its focus sharpens, it begins to glow with aura. This phenomenon alerts Marlin. He doesn't know what it is, but he does know that it's dangerous for Caracosta. He orders it to end the battle with the crunch, but as it attempts to land the final blow, light envelops the two, as RIOLU's aura surges to heights only Ash and Iris have seen. Once the light fades, there stands RIOLU. It has taken that special form again, but it's barely holding back Caracosta with an aura sphere. This is it. The first one to falter will lose the ground that they have and succumb to the other's attack. The struggle, however, appears to be in Caracosta's favor, as it puts its full weight of its body into the move, slowly inching forward toward RIOLU. However, Ash won't let this be the end. He orders RIOLU to drop the Aura Sphere, letting Caracosta through, but the moment the crunch hit, Ash orders his trump card, as he calls for RIOLU to use Counter. It surges with aura, collecting all of the energy from Caracosta's attack, sending it right back at the water type, doubling the force. Caracosta is sent hurtling back over the water until it hits the shoreline, leaving a crater in its wake. Caracosta is down for good. Marlin and Ash look on in disbelief, both unable to process what just happened. But Ash looks to RIOLU. It's down as well. It fainted from the strain of the battle. Ash drops to his knees. He lost. After all of that effort he and his Pokemon put in, they couldn't win. Marlin walks over to Ash. Stand up. There's no reason you should be down. You were the first ever trainer to take me this far in battle. Since I took over this gym, I have not had one true challenge. But you and your Pokemon, you managed to not only get past my first Pokemon, but my whole team, matching us in power and strategy. Here, Ash, take this, the Wave Badge. You and your partners have earned this. Ash looks at Marlin, then to Iris. She nods in approval. Ash stands, accepting the badge, but he tells Marlin he will earn this badge by going on to win the Unova League. I look forward to watching that, Ash. Iris joins the two, telling Ash that was the best match he's ever fought. Then she tells Marlin, I think you are exactly the type of gym leader we need. You have my blessing to be a Unova gym leader. We need more like you, Marlin. After watching that battle, I think you may even be the strongest gym leader in the region. I don't know about that, Marlin says as the two laugh. Ash walks to RIOLU. Look, buddy, you did it. No, we did it. We finally have all 8 badges. And now we can enter the Unova League. The two celebrate this milestone, ready for the next challenge that awaits them. Meanwhile, back on the Team Plasma freight, Colress is monitoring a signal coming from the forest below them. While on the ground, the gym leader of Absolute City, Drayden, does everything he can to evade Team Plasma, looking on from the forest, pondering his next move. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like for the YouTube algorithm. Also, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to interact more with me, don't forget to join the Discord and follow me on Twitter. And if you want to support me any further, head over to my Patreon. Just $5 a month gets you 1 week early access to all of my videos. These awesome people have already donated, so I can continue to bring you the content that you love. The links for all of these are in the description below. Anyway, I'm Ronan Charizard, and I'll see you in the next video.